In this presentation, I will introduce earned value management and explain you where it comes from and how we will link it and use it on projects. Originally, earned value management, or the technique that we are using, originated in the world of operations management. Factories were producing parts, and every part that was produced related to a certain value. What is the value of that part? The second part that people were looking at was measuring how much does it cost to create that part. And basically this is the principle of earned value management, or this is the principle that has been adopted to projects and what we call today earned value management. First of all, when we have that part that has a certain value, has a certain cost to create, optimal cost to create, we call that the earned value. So every time we create a piece, we earn the value of that piece. The second thing is that in order to create those different parts, we have to work on it, we have to perform certain actions, and we have to pay for those actions. Now, what they do in operations management is compare the value of that piece and the amount of money that has been spent to create that piece. And that money to create the piece we call, in fact, the actual cost. Basically, on this information, we can already see if our production is working efficiently or not. If the earned value, the value of the product I'm making, is higher than the amount of money that I spent to make it, then we have, or even when it's equal, then we have efficient processes. The people are working efficiently. On the other hand, when the actual cost is larger than the value of the piece, it means that the processes are not effective or efficient. So we have to look at that. We have to see what are the reasons and what can we do about it. We don't want to pay too much money for a piece which has a specific value. So for example, you want to create a widget which has a value of €1,000, but you pay €1,200 to create that widget. That's not a good business. It would be better that we not spend more than the value of that widget to create it. We now can apply these elements to our curve, to our S-curve. Basically, we are creating deliverables which have a specific value, and we want to know what is basically happening. Now, when we have the curve at the moment T1, specific moment in time where we do a control of the project, we know that we should have made PV1 a certain amount of deliverables we should have created, and we expected to have a specific spending. So this information gives us more details about the work that we expected to do and the cost that we expected to pay to do that work. Now, what is happening? Every time we create a deliverable, we in fact earn the value of that deliverable. And that value is in fact what we call earned value. Each time we create a deliverable, we earn the value of it. So when we are looking at the graph, the first thing to define here is the parameter earned value. Earned value means that at T1, I made so many deliverables and I calculated the estimated cost of those deliverables. Because every time I create a deliverable, I earn the value of that deliverable. So basically we have here the overview of how many deliverables I created and what is the estimated cost of those deliverables. The last parameter in earned value management is in fact the actual cost. Here we measure actually how much we paid for the creation of those deliverables. And this is the information that we in fact have to evaluate. In operations, we looked only at the relation of those two, because here we have an indication how well are we creating our deliverables, how efficient are we. In project management, we put another parameter in addition. We have to compare the earned value with the planned value. And the planned value at this time is basically how much value did I expect to earn at this moment. So based on these parameters, we will create formulas. We will evaluate projects based on schedule and cost. And finally, what we can do with these formulas and that information is to determine how much we expect the project to be costing when it's completed. These are more sophisticated formulas, but we will come slowly to them step by step during the following presentations. Now, it's also very important to know that there were some old terminologies that were used. And for earned value management, for earned value, I start with planned value, PV is also budgeted cost as work scheduled. That was the old term of earned value management, so budgeted cost of work scheduled. Then earned value itself, EV, was mentioned or named budgeted cost of work performed. And last but not least, the actual cost is the actual cost of work performed. Now, these are terms that have been used in project management for a long time. A few years ago, they changed it. They made the abbreviations easier, but you can still find these names sometimes, for example, in some software. If I remember well, Microsoft Project is still using the old names, probably because it's too complex to change it in the software, and people are used to it. For PMI, we use planned value, earned value, and actual cost. But be aware, you still may encounter these other names when you're looking at some publications and some presentations. For the rest of these presentations, I will use planned value, earned value, and actual cost. So now we defined the three basic parameters of earned value management, and we can continue with those to see what we can do with that information. How will we use that information to provide more detailed explanations and estimations to our stakeholders? Earned value management will help us to make the right decisions about a project even long before the project is finished. And you can imagine, if we can detect that the project is going to be over budgeted so much that the business case is not valid anymore, that this is a very important information, and we may use that, for example, to kill the project. To end this presentation, I added some values to our project. I expected to make 10 widgets in 10 weeks, and the cost of one widget is 10K. It means that my budget at completion is 100K. We have the same S-curve, it's a straight line. And now we look at period 5, for example. We're doing a control at period 5 during the project, and we get information from our team. The first thing we can read immediately from our graph is that at period 5, which is exactly at 50% of the project, so we expect to have earned a planned value of 50K. So that's what we are expecting to earn. That's the schedule information that we have. We plan to make 5 widgets, and the cost of those 5 widgets in total is 50K. From our team, I get the message that we made 3 widgets. So this means we planned to make 5, we only made 3. This information tells us that we are behind schedule. I expected to make 5, but I only did 3. So basically, when I multiply the deliverables, the widgets that I created with the cost of one widget, I can say that the earned value at this moment at period 5 is 30K. And we see the earned value is less than what we expected. Of course, we planned to make 5 widgets, we only made 3. This means that we're behind schedule. That's already a first information that we can get from this graph. From the team, we also get the information that in the first 5 periods of the project, we spent 50K. That's the, 40K. That's the money we spent. And that's the actual cost of the project. Now we see that basically we created 3 widgets. We paid 40K for those 3 widgets. It means that per widget we paid 13.3K and some decimals. Basically, this tells us that we are 33% over budget, which is not very good. But this simple information, that information on one graph already explains to us that we are late and that we are over budget. And that's just the beginning of the things we can do with earned value management. More will follow in the next presentations. I'm looking forward to seeing you there and to get more exciting elements and formulas and information about earned value management. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you and bye-bye.